everybody, it's Derek for the Grumpy Guy Show for episode number 61. We can save you 8 minutes! Recorded on Monday, August 15th, 2022. Tonight's topics are helmets, I'm too lazy, it's an easy walk, and Google can save you time. Stick around, it's a good show. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Grumpy Guy Show. I'm Derek McAllister.
And I'm Ryan McAllister.
So, the last few weeks have been pretty darn long. Close to 40 minutes. I don't know if that's why we only have had one view of each of them, but I don't know. Trends say I doubt that's the cause. But we got 4 topics, one of them left over from last week. Hopefully they won't take too long. A couple of them are from this weekend, and probably going to be a big part of the reason that they won't take long. So what do you say we get into
Hopefully they don't take long because we're starting extra late tonight.
Yeah, we're not that late. And you just lost your connection. Well, now you're back. May have to move one of the network spots up there. I don't know why your laptop's having problems staying connected. Either that, or maybe you'll get all of your data off there so we can install a better version of Linux for you.
Okay.
All right, so let's get started, folks. First topic. Don't normally talk too much about work, but this one really gets on my nerves. So there's been a lot of changes happening over the last several years. One of which was moving the HR portion of our software from an on-premise base to a cloud base. Some of the reasons for that is what's called self-service. Basically, people can go in and they can do things like they can change their address, or they can make changes to employees of theirs. And a big push from leadership, and by leadership I'm talking about the CEO and all of his direct reports. One of their big pushes is for this self-service. So lately there's been some major headway on getting to the point where they can do a lot of their own self-service. The problem is, over and over again, we, as in the group that I'm in currently, who normally handles large volumes of changes, so things that wouldn't be sufficient or it wouldn't be efficient with a self-service model, we take care of. The problem is people are coming to us complaining about this, saying, "Oh, I don't have time for this." Well, okay. Go talk to your senior vice president or go talk to the CIO. Then tell me you don't have time for it, because they're expected to do it as well. When they made that decision, they said this includes us. So, we've had this guy really went crazy, and his email was extremely rude. Basically saying that he shouldn't have to do this. And this isn't a vice president or anything like that. This is somebody who's down the chain, like 4 or 5 layers below the president of the company. He's whining that he doesn't have time and he shouldn't have to do this, blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, well, I'm not going to argue with him. I said, yeah, you can. I took the request and I sent it to my manager. I said, you can deal with him because I'm not going to, because it wouldn't be pleasant. And it's unfortunate.
It's your problem now, sucker.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's really unfortunate. But this is the way people are. They get to a certain point in their career and they think, oh, well, I don't have to do these trivial things anymore. Well, guess what? You need to do it.
You do.
If the president of the company says, yeah, this includes me, any of my direct reports that need changes, I have to do. You little peon, you got to do this stuff yourself. don't come crying. We've offered for years to do this stuff, and now we're pretty much being told, no, you can't do this anymore. You have to push back. They need to start doing it. And we do that, and we're the ones that get our heads bit off for it. And it's ridiculous. But this happens over and over again in many companies. These people think, well, I'm above doing the work. And it's not the case, folks. You're not better than somebody else just because you've played office politics. It's not how it works. And when your office politics haven't gotten you as far as the CIO of the company, and the CIO is the one who's really, really pushing this, don't go telling me that you don't have time for it. And I know you're kind of young, you might not know what a CIO is. Chief Information Officer. The top of the chain for the information technology department. And when she reports directly to the president of the company, and when she wants a technology done, it's going to get done because that's her role.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah, and the worst part is this person that was whining is part of her organization.
Ooh.
I'm like, whatever, you go ahead and you argue with her. I'm not going to, because it's the direction she wants. She wants to get rid of the ability for them to do things, by sending us a request. What we say is more efficient when you're talking about 5 or more changes. She wants to eliminate that. And I'm like, okay, well, you want to do that, that's fine, but that ain't going to be fun. But, this guy's asking for one change. He wants one change done to one employee, and we push back, and he starts crying. Sorry.
What a baby.
Yeah. But it happens all the time, and this time it just pushed me over the edge tonight, or not today, but last week. And it really had to do with the tone that he had in the email. I don't have time for this. Okay,
yeah,
so
you do.
You who have 10 direct reports don't have time to do something like this, but somebody who has 50 direct reports does. Yeah. Time management, dude. Learn it. Yeah. All right. So enough of that one.
What else we got?
What else we got? So lately, now I'm pretty sure we've made it clear, but I'm going to reiterate. We live in New York State.
Right in the middle.
Yeah, right in the middle. New York State has a helmet law, whether you're talking about an ATV, a motorcycle, a dirt bike, a side-by-side, or a UTV, whatever you want to call it. There is a helmet law. More.
Even a bicycle.
Well, remember, we were told, yes, there is for children, but it never passed for adults.
That's stupid.
I made the statement early on and was corrected by our listener.
Our one listener.
Our one very consistent listener, yes. He corrected me, and I pushed back a little bit, and he actually sent me an article, rather recent article, showing that no, adults on a bicycle do not have to wear a helmet. But anyhow,
kind of related, but I'm pretty sure that until like a year or so ago, like within the past 5 years, I know, but until then, you could ride without a seatbelt in the passenger seat of a car.
Not the passenger seat, the back seat.
Ah.
Once they mandated it for the driver, they mandated it for the passenger as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
yeah, but didn't they change it for the back seat recently?
Yeah. But you would never have been able to ride in the back seat without a seatbelt.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was an age limit. Once you got to be 18, you were able to make that decision on your own, but before
But they
you turned
changed it
18, they changed
before
it.
I turned 18.
Yeah, yeah. So,
That's kind of funny.
yeah. Whoa, what the heck just happened there?
Hmm.
You, oh, you probably didn't see it because you got it on full screen. Suddenly, my video just all of a sudden like shifted. Oh, went the other way.
No, it shift. My video actually shifted too a bit, like way before yours did.
That was weird. Because
Yeah.
it's not like my laptop moved or anything. Just all of a sudden,
My laptop didn't move either.
and I was just about off the screen. Oh my. Anyhow, so back to the topic.
Bikes.
So, yeah, recently I've noticed a lot of people going down the recreation trail by us and up and down the road on ATVs without helmets. And I'm just sitting there like,
That's illegal.
yeah. And the worst part is,
And
I
even
mean,
if it was legal, it would still be stupid.
yeah. But the worst part is, our road isn't even open to ATV traffic. I mean, in New York State, a county or town can open a road for ATV traffic. No state roads are open to ATV traffic, but county roads can be and town roads can be. This is not. They have to actually be specific. There has to be signage stating that it's open. There is no signage. And they're going running up and down
Oh,
through here, 35 mile per hour speed zone. They're going through doing 50 or better. And I'm
so
just
that's
like,
super illegal.
yeah, so illegal for that. Driving beyond the speed limit, and no helmet. And I'm like,
That's triple illegal.
you people are just dumb, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But then,
Would
not,
love to have some cops on our road.
yeah. Well, since the crack house got busted, they don't come around so much. But
Uh, damn.
but it's a couple of weeks ago, not this past weekend, the weekend before, I was filling up the bike with gas, and I saw people going down the road on street bikes. I mean, these are actually
Mm-hmm.
Harleys going down the road without a helmet on. I'm like, what the?
Are you stupid or something?
You know, I
Are you
get,
asking for a brain injury?
I get that it's their choice. If they want to have a brain injury, okay, that's fine. That's their problem. The
That's
problem
exactly
I
what they're
have,
asking for.
well, yeah, but the problem I have is there's a law. You don't
Mm-hmm.
like the law. You need to change how you vote. You need to vote somebody in who's going to eliminate the need for a helmet. But, the law is there. You need to obey it. If you don't like it, move. You know,
Exactly.
I think Pennsylvania is a state that doesn't require helmets. Either that or when your mother and I went down to South Carolina, there were a lot of people just riding through Pennsylvania figuring, I don't care if I get a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that South Carolina is one that doesn't have a helmet law, but the saddest thing is I saw more people with helmets there than I did in Pennsylvania. And I'm not positive if Pennsylvania has a helmet law or not.
Did you see more
I think
people
they
with
do.
helmets in South Carolina than up here?
No. No, but it was probably pretty darn close the way it's been going lately. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
you go down to the gas station down the road here and you watch, and I'd say probably at least one out of every 10 motorcycles that goes by, the person's not wearing a helmet. And I'm just like, I get it. You don't care. You want to smash, you get in an accident, you smash your head on the road, you want to die. Okay. That's fine. That's your choice. But again,
That's your prerogative.
it's the law.
If you want to die, then go ahead.
Yeah. And it's not like helmets are overly expensive. I mean, you look at the cost of some of these Harleys, the Harleys that they're riding are a base price of like
Mm-hmm.
$22,000. And that doesn't include all the customizations that they're doing to these things. I mean, you look at these bikes and they're probably putting 5 to 10 grand in customizations. All of that, and you can't spend $250 to get a helmet? Or get a half helmet. I think they're like $100. I mean, seriously, it's not that hard.
It's not.
But
They're cheap compared to the bikes.
yeah. You enjoy riding your bike so much, well, maybe you should put a helmet on so that you can enjoy riding it if you ever get in a crash.
Mm-hmm.
But, they're the same people that are out there in t-shirts and shorts, so if they do get in a crash, they're going to be spending, they're never going to ride again because they're not going to be able to afford it because they're going to end up spending $200,000 or $300,000 in skin grafts to fix all of the road, all the road rash from sliding across the pavement. It's just ridiculous. I don't understand.
It is.
And it's not even just all of the money you'd spend with that, all of the pain that you'd have along the way. I mean, these bikes are hot. You fall over, the bike's going on you, which means it's going to burn.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that a pair of jeans like I'm wearing is going to be perfect, but it'll give me a couple of seconds before it actually burns, so that maybe I can get my leg moved. But I don't know, the way these people are, though, it's like, yeah, you say you really love riding, and you say it's because it makes you free, but you're not going to be free if you end up getting in an accident like that. But anyway.
But hey, what do I know?
Yeah. I suppose it's their choice. They wanna be a vegetable. So they can't feed themselves. They can't bathe themselves. They can't do anything for themselves. Okay.
That's their prerogative.
Yeah, I suppose. So.
If you want to die, then go ahead.
Yeah. So what do you say? We move on to the next one.
All right.
Another wonderful transition there, folks. So, speaking of riding, and these next two topics, they actually go together because they're about my ride on Saturday.
Okay.
So, I did some searching to find a destination to go to. I didn't want to just go out and ride. I wanted to have some place to go and maybe get some pictures of a waterfall. So I did some searching, and it turns out that there's a lot of waterfalls around. I mean, it's not like we didn't know that. There's mountains not that far, and of course you got the Finger Lakes region, which anybody who doesn't know the Finger Lakes region, they were formed by glaciers, and they are extremely deep. You have mountains on the sides, and then Seneca Lake is deep enough where they actually did submarine testing back in World War II. It's like it's over 500 feet deep. So
wow.
There's some steep drops, which of course gives you waterfalls.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted something that wasn't necessarily on the beaten path or something that I had seen before. So I did some searching, and I found this one site. And it talked about this. One waterfall. Said, it's a 3-mile hike each direction, so it's 3 miles out, 3 miles back. But it's an easy hike, and you can get there, and it's a beautiful waterfall. Okay, well that sounds good. So I looked it up, see how long it'd take to get there. So my total. So you're talking. What they said was it's an hour and a half walk each way, from the trailhead parking to the waterfalls and back would be a total of 3 hours. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. So then I go and I'm looking to see how long it takes to get there. So Google says it takes 2.5 hours. So I'm thinking, okay, so we got a 5-hour round trip ride. I can handle that. That's not bad, especially going up through the Adirondacks. Some nice views and whatnot. Okay. And then 3 hours walking, give me half an hour to take my pictures and everything. So we're talking, 8.5 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the problem. So we're gonna go with the first problem. I'm on my motorcycle. I set it up, I got the phone mounted and I've got maps open so that I know where I'm going. I can see it, and of course it's playing. I've got a Bluetooth connection to my head and my helmet, so that I can actually hear it. So I'm going along. We've found a way to save you 8 minutes. Would you, if you, what's it say? It's if you don't want to change, press no thanks. I'm like, I'm on my motorcycle. I got gloves on. It's not like I can take a glove off to press this stupid button. So I'm sitting there trying to figure out the right way to push so that it'll work. And it didn't work the first time. I'm like, oh, screw it, whatever. So then the second time it comes up, I'm like, stop. So finally I figured out the right way to push with my fingers so that it picked it up, and I'm like, God, how dangerous is this? I'm on a freaking motorcycle and I have to let go of the handlebars, and don't get me wrong, I can let go with my left hand without an issue, but it's still not overly safe, especially in an area. I mean, the first 2 times, okay, I was in an area that I knew, so it's not bad, but you get later on. Because this happened like 4 times on the way up there. You get later on, I'm in an area where I have no clue where I'm going, so I really need to pay attention to the road. And I can't go take my hands off because I'm paying attention and I have to be ready, to do things. I mean, And we found a way to save you 8 minutes. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Just stop already. So, long story short with that, I'm going to send an email to Google and say, hey, there needs to be a mode where I can say, I don't want this crap. I mean,
You already gave me the route. Stick to that route.
well, no, the thing is, when I'm on the motorcycle, I don't necessarily take the route that they suggest right off the bat. Because number one, I don't want to go on highways. And yes, I have avoid highways and avoid tolls checked so that, it supposedly avoids those. But there's been many times where its initial route that it shows you goes on highways. So, I'm always looking for other ways, some back roads and whatnot, because I'm on the motorcycle. I'm out to ride and enjoy the ride. I'm not get there as quickly as possible and get home. I want to enjoy myself and see things that I'm not necessarily going to see when I'm on the way to work or some destination for work or something like that, So I've selected a particular route that I want to take. I don't want to save 8 minutes. I want to go the route that I've selected. I have to be honest. I got to look through the app to find out if I can turn that off. But even if I'm in a car, having to stop and press no thanks constantly, that means I'm taking my eyes off of the road to push the no thanks button. I mean, I get it. California thinks that phones are horrible. You can't touch a phone in California when you're driving at all. But, the Tesla touchscreen is perfectly fine to touch. It's okay.
Yep, all the touch screens in your cars are perfectly okay to touch.
Yeah. It doesn't matter that, it's not like cars from the 70s, 80s, 90s where there's buttons and your hand knows where to go to turn the volume up on the radio. No, it's not like that. because it's a flat piece of glass. There is no, they can move that without telling you. It's just a software update.
It's all touchscreen.
Yeah. So you have to actually look at it to touch it. So in order, if you're in a car, in order to
It's
say...
exactly like looking at your damn phone.
Yeah, it's just big.
Mm-hmm.
So having to look at the touch screen to push this button says no thanks. That means you're taking your eyes off of the screen, or off of the road.
Off the road and onto the screen.
Yeah. Even if it's only for a couple of seconds, you're still doing
That's
it.
still very dangerous.
60 miles an hour, a couple of seconds is several hundred feet. Plain and simple. But I don't know. Some of the things that Google's putting into maps, it's good. Environmentally friendly routes and everything. Okay, but once I select a route, unless there's some kind of construction that you didn't know about that you found out late, or there's an accident, don't go offering me to change the stupid route.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So that leads right into the next thing. So it's an easy walk. Yes, folks, air quotes. I was like, okay, well, it's a hike, so, it'll be, little hills and everything. All right, I get that.
An easy walk.
And, to say it's an hour and a half walk for 3 miles, that's not an overly fast pace. That's 15 minutes per mile. I can do that. I mean, I'm not in the greatest condition, don't get me wrong, but 15-minute miles I can do. So I get there, and first off, the trailhead parking is a quarter mile away from the trailhead. You have to walk down the side of this state road to get to the trailhead. I'm like, okay, well, that's pretty stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make somebody cross the road just straight across from the trailhead. I got that. Totally get it. Totally understandable. But no. Mm-hmm. You have to walk a quarter mile down the side of the road and then cross the road. I'm like...
That's stupid.
That's dumb. But anyhow. So I'm going on this easy walk. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like... All right. This ain't easy.
It's not.
And this was just from the road down to the actual trailhead. It's a 25-foot drop down. I'm like,
Jesus.
What the hell? And it's not like it was a steady, slow slope. No, it's pretty darn steep. And I'm like, okay.
Holy shit.
Doesn't start good, but whatever. Maybe that's it right there. So I'm going walking along and come to the first 100-foot incline. I'm like, oh man. So I get to the top of that, and I'm like, whew. All right, that was rough. And then there's about a 50-foot decline right after that. And it's up and down like that the whole way. So this hour and a half easy walk turns into 2+ hours. I'm talking close to 3 hours one way. So,
Jeez.
Yeah, so I'm like, oof. And then I get there, and I'm not even actually there yet, right? I'm at an overlook. I'm like, okay, this seems like we're awfully high.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep walking.
Are we there yet?
And then there's a lady. Yeah, there's one lady sitting and one lady laying in the sun. And I'm like, is this still the trail? Oh yeah, it goes down over there. But my son saw it and said, "No, Mom, you're not going." And her she told me her son's 16. And she's in much better better looks of it. She's in much better physical condition than I am. Yeah. And he told her, "You're not going."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I came all this way. I want to get down. I want to take pictures from the bottom of the gorge. So I walk about 15 feet past her, and a trail
Mm-hmm.
just disappears right straight down. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, that ain't happening.
Yeah, bad idea.
And she comes, yeah, so I walk back and I said, yeah, I guess this is going to be it. She kind of chuckles. She said, yeah, he told me there's ropes and everything to help you get down. And I'm like, yeah, I got to walk back to the bike. I can't, I got to be able to make it back. I can't go, I'm carrying a tripod and a camera. I'm not going down this thing and then have to come back up and walk another 2.5 to 3 hours back to the bike. So I'm like, yeah, I guess this will be good enough. Especially since, this beautiful waterfall had a trickle of water coming over it. I'm like, what the heck was this lady smoking when she said it was an easy walk and beautiful waterfall?
Uh,
I'm like, the only reason it's making a lot of noise is because it's a 100-foot drop.
mm,
And from what her description was, she went about the same time of year as me. So it's not like she went right after the snow started melting, so there was a lot of water or anything like that. No.
mm-hmm.
She went in August, the July, August time frame. So I'm just like, oh my God.
Are you sure she was talking about the same waterfall?
Yeah. Yeah, it's called OK Slip Falls. And it's capital OK. Both letters are
Mm-hmm.
capital. It's not an abbreviation for anything. Or maybe it is. I don't know. There's no periods in there. It's just OK.
Mm-hmm.
And it's,
Maybe it's trying to say that it's an okay walk.
yeah. So, at any rate, I take some pictures. And then I gather stuff up. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to start walking back. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, they say you get a second wind when you're running or whatever. You get tired out and then suddenly you catch up and everything. And I've experienced that many times. When I was younger. I don't know. I don't know if there's a such thing as a fourth wind or not, because I'm sitting there on the way back and I'm like, and then after a while I know I slowed down, but I was like, okay, it's not so bad now, but so it took me
Holy.
it literally took me about 2.5 hours to walk out to there, and then it took me about 3 hours to get back.
Good Lord.
Yeah, and I'm like, man. So this thing that I figured was going to take me about 8 hours total round trip was supposed to be about 8.5 hours. Yeah, it was closer
Mm-hmm.
to 12 hours. I'm like, ugh. And the worst part is that I mean, I was sweating like crazy when I got back to the bike. And I
Mm-hmm.
just sat there. I said, okay, before I get on the bike and start going, I gotta cool off, let the sweat go. And finally I got to a point where I was like, okay, nothing more is gonna evaporate off. Because I mean my pants were soaked, my shirt was soaked, just plain soaked from sweat. So I'm like, all right, I gotta go. Just can't wait any longer because I got a 3 hour ride back. And, it's kind of cool out. This weekend was actually quite cool. The high temperature on Saturday, I think,
Mm-hmm.
was only like 76 in Syracuse. This is well north and way up in elevation. So,
Mm-hmm.
a lot cooler. And it was like a damp cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I started riding and, oh my, I was cold. There was no, yeah, it's a little cold. No, I was cold. Now I have
Oh.
Raynaud's disease, which means my
Mm-hmm.
fingers are very sensitive to cold.
Yeah.
As in, without the medication that I'm on, if I hold a glass of ice water, my fingers will turn white.
Ah.
But medication
I
has
thought they
helped.
only turned blue.
No, they turn white.
Wow.
But the medication has helped tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't helping. I had to stop
Ooh.
3 times on the way home. And I
Mhm.
actually put my hands right on the side of the motor. I mean, I had the gloves on, but I put
Yep.
my hands right on the side of the motor to warm them up because my fingers were
Mm-hmm.
frozen. I'm like, oh my, not good.
Hmm.
So, but I was annoyed with Google again because I picked a route that I was going to go because half of the route I've ridden before. So I knew where I would be going, which knowing it was going to be dark by the time I got there was a good thing.
Yep.
And it's not like I really, really knew where I was going. I knew that better than the route that I took up there. Yes, it meant an extra 15 or 20 minutes. But going along, what does Google say? Oh, we found a route that's saved
We
you
found
8 minutes. I'm like, God, knock it off. And of
we
course,
found something that will save you 8 minutes.
my
Press no
fingers are
thank you if you don't
frozen.
want this.
Yeah, my fingers are, I can feel them inside the glove. It's white, which means there's no circulation going through there, so pushing on the screen wasn't doing anything. Even without the glove on, pushing on the screen wouldn't have done anything. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh well, you can recalculate, you stupid thing. So, I don't know. The whole day just frustrated me, and luckily, the hot tub was nice and hot. So I got home and I soaked in the hot tub for 20 minutes just to warm up so that I'd be able to go to sleep. The problem I have now is because my muscles didn't cool properly before I started riding, I am all tight. And any athlete who's, like if you were track and you didn't do much over the winter, you'd go out in that first run, the next day you get up and you can barely move. Well, today's Monday. I went on Saturday
Mm-hmm.
and I can still barely move. I'm taking baby steps going places because I literally can't, my upper legs are finally starting to loosen up. My calves, I just can't flex my calves at all. They are just so tight, and
Yikes.
it's all because these people just, oh, well, it's an
Easy walk.
Ah, well. Well, folks, it looks to me like we got another long one. I guess I'm just rambling on and on.
You do that.
Yeah. But I'm sure you've heard that music starting up in the background.
In that case, good night.
We'll see ya.